Axe-wielding psychos, secret city sprawling tunnels, and dangerous creeps in the woods. They're all real, just like the rest of these spooky urban legends. Picture this. You and your friends are hanging out in the woods, minding your own business, when suddenly you see a horribly disfigured creature wandering through the trees. Maybe that sounds like something out of a movie, but for teens in the Pittsburgh area, it was very, very real. Legend has it that the Green Man, sometimes called Charlie No Face or even the Monster of Beaver County, roamed the forests and highways around the city for years. But those who grew up in the area in the 1960s actually found the Green Man and discovered that while the legends were actually true, the stories painting him as a monster were anything but. The so-called Green Man was actually a very sweet guy named Ray Robinson. Way back in 1919, when Robinson was 8, he suffered an accident that changed his life forever. He was climbing a trolley trestle when he touched a live power line and was electrocuted. He lost a hand and his face was melted. He grew up incredibly isolated, so he liked to walk the local highways at night. Some of the people he encountered were incredibly cruel to him, while others made a friend who changed their lives. Robinson liked to chat with the kind ones, talk baseball, and drink beer. Robinson died in 1985, but his legend lives on. Here's a terrifying story. You go on vacation, then you come home and start suffering horrible headaches or earaches. The cause? Bugs crawled into your ears and nestled in your brain. This one isn't science fiction, it's actually happened several times right here on Earth. In 2013, Rochelle Harris returned to Britain from a holiday in Peru. When she started hearing scratching noises, she was a little worried. It got worse when the headache started. When she woke up with a mysterious liquid on her pillow, she decided to seek medical attention for what she thought was an ear infection. The truth? A fly she swatted out of her ear in Peru had laid eggs in her ear canal, and she was now home to a family of maggots. She needed surgery to remove them. Then, in 2015, Yadira Rostro underwent surgery after suffering from 9 months of headaches. The cause? Tapeworm eggs in her brain. Doctors were pretty sure she picked up the parasite when she was in Mexico 2 years prior, and that it had traveled through her bloodstream and into her brain where it laid eggs. Good luck enjoying another vacation. There are a few stories surrounding the Bunny Man Bridge in Fairfax County, Virginia. According to one, the area was home to a disturbed teenager who put on a bunny costume before hanging himself from the overpass. In standard urban legend fare, he now haunts the bridge and disembowels trespassers with an axe, like you do. However, Brian Conley, a local historian, found that the Bunny Man has a basis in truth. Conley says the legend of a man in a white bunny suit is actually told all over Virginia, Maryland, and the D.C. area. After combing through the newspapers, Conley found the tale's origins. In 1970, an Air Force cadet reported being in a car with his fiancée when a man in a white bunny suit jumped out of the bushes, yelled at them, and hurled a hatchet through the car window. They weren't hurt, but 2 weeks later, a security guard came across the same bunny man hacking away at some roof supports of a new house. There was a major investigation, but police never found out who was in the costume, and he never appeared again. This urban legend is much more common in big cities like New York, but you can find variations on it all over the world. Supposedly, rats live in the sewers, and it's believed that one can just swim up the pipes and end up in your toilet. The lucky victims will just open the lid and find a rat treading water there. The unlucky ones will be sitting on the toilet when it happens. It sounds unlikely, but it's completely and terrifyingly true. The Seattle Times even ran a 2016 piece warning readers about what to do if a rat should make an appearance in their toilet, because it happens way more than anyone would think. The Public Health Department in Seattle's King County answers between 50 and 80 rat and toilet occurrences each and every year. Experts say that rats are trying to get into the kitchen or drain where they smell food, but since the toilet is the easiest access to a home, that's where they usually pop up. Pro tip: don't drop any food in your toilet unless you really have to. The story behind this urban legend starts with someone settling into a hotel room and noticing a strange smell. They might complain, they might not, but they always spend a while in the room before the smell gets so unbearable they investigate fully. And that's when they find the dead body under the mattress.
Check under the mattress!
For what?
For the body! Can't you smell it?
It's your feet!
No, it's a dead body. Now, this particular urban legend isn't just true, it happens with terrifying regularity. Each time, guest complaints led to a complete search of the hotel room and the discovery of a body. The stories are surprisingly varied. The first body was Gary Smith, a car thief poisoned and strangled by his associates, then left under the bed of a New Jersey motel room that was rented several times before he was found. 2 bodies discovered in 2 different motels in 1989 were the work of the same killer, Jerry Lee Dunbar. And in 2003, a man spent 3 nights in a Kansas City room before the smell became so unbearable he checked out. When the room was cleaned, a man in, quote, an advanced stage of decomposition was found under the mattress. In short, if something smells in your hotel room, ask for it cleaning sooner rather than later. Here's another pretty familiar urban legend with a healthy dose of cautionary tale thrown in. It involves a man plummeting to his death outside the building where he works. According to the story, the man was a lawyer who was awfully fond of demonstrating just how strong the windows in his building were by throwing himself at them dozens of floors up. One day, the window breaks, and that's it for the unfortunate, overconfident attorney. Reports from news outlets in Toronto say this man was real. His name was Gary Hoy, and he had the weird habit of slamming against the windows of his office at Toronto's TD Centre. On one July day in 1993, he did it in front of a group of visiting students. The window popped out of the frame, and Hoy popped out of the building. He fell 24 stories, and while it's unclear exactly why he thought any of this was a good idea, it did have consequences for his coworkers. The firm, Holden Day Wilson, closed 3 years after the incident, in part due to an inability to recover from the tragedy. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more messed up history videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.